What's going on, spectators? There is absolutely no time to waste. Jesus and I are falling out of our chairs excited about this week's guest, and you should be too. So grab a bucket of ice cream and watch out for spiders. This is episode 14.
This is a conspiracy. That's what this is.
Just begging to course its way through your veins.
Let's just for a moment speculate, shall we?
You're into comic books, aren't you?
I'm a nerd.
But you do like comic books.
Comic books aren't just for sad nerds anymore.
Do you think we need one more?
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Do you think we need one more?
Objection, calls for speculation, move to strike.
This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
All right, we'll get one more.
Spectators, a comic book podcast with Jake and Jesus.
Hello and welcome everybody to episode 14 of Spectales, a comic book podcast where we dig into everything to do with chasing and collecting the comic books we love. Jesus, I'd say we have a pretty important guest on the show tonight. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, man. We're very excited to have him on.
All right, well, let's just get right to it. Martín Morazzo, the artist who responsible for Ice Cream Man and several other works that we are going to jump into, like the Electric Sublime. I am very excited to talk about that one. Great Pacific, another great work that you did with Joe Harris. So why don't we go ahead and just say, Martín, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Thanks to you for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure. Ice Cream Man was one of the books I walked into a local comic shop. I was talking to the guy behind the counter. I told him the type of, horror books that I was reading or like to read in the past. And he goes, hey, if you like horror, this new series just recently came out. You have to look at it. It's called Ice Cream Man. And I've been hooked absolutely ever since. Like I said, it brought me back from the dead. Like I started reading that thing and just fell in love with comics all over again because of it. So this is a pretty big deal for me.
That's great to hear.
And for me, Martín, Jake actually introduced me to Ice Cream Man this year. I had already heard about it. I've been collecting for a little bit longer. I had seen it, but I didn't know what it was about. I ended up talking to Jake, and Jake said, hey, man, you have to read this. So I think I won a raffle from Jake, and he sent me the first trade. And I read it, and I was like, man, why did I miss this? Why did I miss this? And the funny thing too is looking back, I should have been picking it up from the beginning because I think you guys are like 20, 26, 27
26
issues.
comes out next week. Not that I'm keeping track.
26 issues into
26,
it.
26, yeah, next week.
So I'm still, I think I'm like number 14 or 15, and I'm still trying to catch up slowly. But I'm also enjoying it. So like I don't have that, what Jake had to have to wait until the next one came out. Like I can binge it. So I've been binging like 5 at a time as I get the trade. So I really enjoy the series. So it's also a kind of a big deal for me to have you on, Martín. So I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much, Jesus. You have to be careful with the binge, because we don't have like 200 issues. So you have to regulate it a little bit, drop by drop, not the entire,
Just one trade by one trade, maybe per month is what I'm doing.
Binge wisely, Jesus. Binge wisely.
Yeah, for sure.
So, speaking about the next issue, it's another another experiment.
Okay.
It's a guy going down a tree.
Yes, I've been seeing the previews.
Yes, and it's you can paste all the pages and do like a really large strip because it's all the tree all the way down.
So it is one continuous.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for you, but
no, not at all.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I might end up getting one to keep and then one to cut up and paste together. I'm gonna see if it works.
You will need to paste, but it's okay.
Because front and back, right? Front and back, basically. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
To grow our sales,
So I want to dive into kind of a little bit more about you, Martín. What's a little bit of a background? Where let's go over where you're from and just some of your background, if you don't mind telling us.
Well, I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I grew up here and always wanted to work in comics since I was a really little kid. And once I started pursuing that really hardly, I it took me like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 years to break in. And then I started publishing. It was like my first pro work was more than 10 years ago, like in 2009. I won a Sura Comics competition. It was DC Comics, the branch of DC Comics that handled web comics. And it was like a monthly competition. And if you won, they sign a contract with you, and you have to publish like 60 screens, 60 pages, let's say. And we won like in August 2009. And then
who's we? You said we won. So who
oh yeah, with I was working with a Canadian writer. The thing is, I always wanted to be a comic book artist, but like it was like a dream in the back of my head all the time. I constantly drew many things, but one time I said, okay, let's try to do this for real. So I went to San Diego Comic-Con with pages with samples. I didn't got anything really good from there. Just some tests to draw and a couple of things. But I enlisted on a site that used to match like writers with inkers, with pencilers, with colorists. And I enlisted there. Nothing happened for 6 months. I don't know if they run ads then or anything, but suddenly I received like 6 mails from writers wanting to work with me. And I started working with a Canadian writer called Robert Burr Richardson. And we did like a couple of projects and things, and entered this Suda competition with one comic. We lost, and then we entered again like some months later, and we won.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And it was, I did art and colors. It was him doing the script and his wife doing the lettering.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, so we won that month, and like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months later, I'm not sure if that fast or it took more time, but DC decided to sell digitally the comics they made in print, so they decided to finish Suda. So I received an email of saying they will no longer continue my contract, so they pay me like half of the money that was still to be earned, and it was finished there. It was really sad for me because it was like something I took into account,
Yeah.
And mostly because one of my teenage idols was Jim Lee, and the letter was written by Jim Lee or signed by him. At least.
No.
So it was like, okay, I received a letter signed by my my teenage hero. But, oh fuck, okay. But, okay, he's saying I will no longer work in this. Okay.
What was Lee's work? What was it about Lee's work that you idolized specifically? Was there any particular work that you read that you just loved?
As a child and teenager, I used to read a lot of X-Men books.
Yeah.
In fact, all the Claremont, I guess everybody did, right? But when he started working on X-Men, I haven't seen his work before, but I was like really amazed. I loved Mark Silvestri too. And Shin Lee is like, he brought a couple of different things in the game. And I when he used to make a lot of detail and all, I really loved what he did. I thought it was like, I guess the figures were the thing I loved the most, like he drew things really dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
When you had those shots with Wolverine, like foreshortening of Wolverine, like attacking or going to the camera, and it was different than the rest to me by that time. Probably I had to say I didn't read like Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane, so probably that would have changed. But by that time I was like amazed with his work.
I agree. I think that Lee, the way that he drew Wolverine, kind of changed the Wolverine game a little bit. Not that Wolverine was ever done poorly prior, but that I think that when I relate, because in the 90s was when I started reading X-Men as well, or I suppose, late early 90s. However, it was kind of in that realm where I was also associating it with the cartoon that was on in the mornings for us. And so that was just the definitive Wolverine for me.
Yes, also I think what he did with Claremont when they started X-Men, not Uncanny, but when they broke Uncanny in two. Do you remember the X-Men and Uncanny X-Men? Mm-hmm. What they did there, it was amazing until Lee stopped doing details and all on the last issues and all. But even his work in Wildcats, I remember very fondly of it. I haven't seen it for years, but I have all the floppies here, so I used to buy all the floppies then.
You call them floppies?
I have all the floppies, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because by that time in Argentina, it was easier to import books, and they were these comic book stores, and they brought a lot of books, and I was like, I have my pull list, and they told me, it's a huge event coming. You gonna get it all? Yes, of course, yes. And I bought them. They weren't, but they weren't expensive here, and I was a teenager, and I don't know. I have my you say allowance, right?
Yes, allowance.
I have my allowance, and I practically didn't have where to spend it. So I used to buy books, and I bought a lot, and probably there are many I haven't even read. And they are books like from the 91, 92, 93. I don't know.
Yeah, no. And, there's a lot of. I mean, from a value standpoint, there are certainly plenty of valuable books from that time period. But there's also just a lot of nostalgia for people who were reading them then, and that's all. There's that sentimental value you can't put a dollar price on.
Yes.
Let's jump into our first segment. I picked up some books that I should have done more homework sooner when I fell in love with Ice Cream Man.
Okay.
I should have started looking more into not just your work, but Maxwell Prince's work as well. And the thing is I didn't realize until recently that Ice Cream Man is not your guys' first work. Collaboration, right?
Yeah.
And I found the Electric Sublime, and oh my God. I mean, holy shit is the only way to put it. I'm telling everybody listening, I had a hard time finding physical copies of it, unfortunately. And so I've been sort of piecemealing it together. But I'm going to, unfortunately, I can't, Jesus, you're going to be able to look at this, but look at this artwork. So I am showing just kind of some opening pages from the Electric Sublime #2. And it is absolutely stunning. I mean, your work in it blew my mind. That page, when I opened this up to that page, I just fell into it. Yeah, I was like, where has this been my entire life? And it's super meta though, right? Because the storyline for it, and I don't want to give it away for too many people, but the basic storyline is these characters. You have a detective who is essentially trying to solve or chase down a murderer, but it is also happening in the canvas of paintings, right? Am I doing this justice?
Yes, of course, yeah.
And so I'm not all the way through it, right? Oh, here's another cover. So this is for cover 3, and the one I just read, the characters enter into what is the
scream.
It's
called the scream in English.
Yeah,
right?
but I was reading the book and they call it Vox because the character, the person screaming in the painting is Vox.
Yeah,
and the scream, the character gets murdered in the comic. And I apologize for anybody's spoilers. This is like 5 years old. If you hadn't read it yet, it's your loss. But like when it happened, so there were so many things. Like I see I see bits and pieces of what Ice Cream Man is now in this. And is that fair to say?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, it has many points in common. You know, when you see the people in the class, I'm not sure if you saw the people in the class.
The classroom is
Matisse Fauvism. It was a really Ice Cream Man moment. But mostly the thing is, I guess it's me getting to know Will. You know, like how we started working together there, and it was from minute one. It was an awesome relation in collaboration. You know, like he always says, I have like he called it Morazzo vision, which is I envision what he thinks. So we kind of get a little frightened sometimes, you know, because it's really weird, you know. But we started working there, and it was awesome. Everything went fantastically, except for sales. So we were really sad we couldn't continue doing that book, because we really love it. You know, it was we always talk about it greatly. But I gotta say, without spoiling much, it's not the last we've seen about that book. You know, like we're gonna pick it up sometime in the future, and try something new with it. But
I think the comic community would be better for it. Just in my humble opinion.
I think that right there, Martin, that's like for the spec. You should say that at the spec side, because now everybody's going to be wanting to pick up that book and read it if you guys are going to go back to it.
Yeah, but I don't think there are many left, so I'm not sure.
I'm telling you, I went to multiple stores. I was driving everywhere just trying to find it. And the thing was, so I am a pick up the floppy first before anything else, and so I tried to get those, couldn't find them. Next I tried to get trades, but those are out of print and out of, you know, they're not making them anymore. And last resort I went to digital. I was on Comixology. I was trying to find it just online for me to read.
It was on Comixology, right?
No, it was not on Comixology.
It's not anymore. Oh.
I could not find it. You know, when you search the Electric Sublime, 0 comes up, 0 results. It doesn't even say that it was formerly available.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I probably know the reason for that, but you know, we did just for the floppies, the trade, and the idea was going on like we did with Ice Cream Man, and it didn't happen. So I remember we saying, okay, well, let's do something else. Yes, of course, because we work, you know, really well together. So. But he approached me saying, I have this idea. It's like a Twilight Zone, but with an Ice Cream Man. I remember saying, my wife, this guy is crazy. I'm going to do 4 issues and get away with it, you know? Get away from him. So, yeah, my business vision is, my industry vision, it's like 0.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Did you think after that first Electric Sublime and then Ice Cream Man is not traditional, right? To an extent, is not traditional, even though it has, you know, the same, like you mentioned, Twilight Zone or something like that format. But you did you envision it getting as big as it's gotten so far? Like when you're writing it, when you're doing the work.
If I thought at first if it was going to be this big, no, not at all. I thought it was going to last like 8 issues. Well, when the first sales came in, I thought, okay, maybe we can take it a bit longer. But I wasn't sure. You know, my experience, my previous experience with Image Comics, it was, well, I had published Great Pacific and Snowfall with them.
Yep.
And they were like started with good solid sales, and then like went down. Great Pacific slower than Snowfall, but it was like a bit disheartening, you know, when the release happened. Like you already knew that the book had to be finished, you know, complete. At least with Snowfall, not with Great Pacific. Great Pacific lasted like 18 issues. It was a long run. I'm not sure if you've seen Snowfall, but I really loved it, and I have like some far away shots from the city or buildings or things that I love doing, perspective and architecture and all. But I guess in this thing with the human emotions in another level, probably I found my strength as an artist. So maybe that's in fact I'm really good friend with Joe Harris, and he always said to me, like, a bit shocking, like, now that you are a horror artist, like, well, I found you, but you were a sci-fi artist with me, and now that you're a horror artist.
I have to say, I mean, it is a dark, and there is a lot of horrific visuals. Ice Cream Man is, I mean, it. You have to categorize it as something, but I don't think I've ever told anybody like it's a straight horror. Like, it is not. Like, there are horror series, that are very dark and kind of scary. Ice Cream Man is this mental
weird,
so we're go if you want to talk about that.
I think it's called like psychological horror or something like that. Existential horror. Probably.
There you go.
But
that's a great.
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah, it's the thing we found now that there is like this fever for exclusive variants. There are many that probably somehow don't understand the character. We don't have a problem with it, but Ice Cream Man doesn't go around cutting people's heads or something like that. Like it's the gore is.
Yeah,
it's different,
I actually noticed that with the variant covers, and that happened a lot with the variant covers for Haha. To me, the Haha series was not horror. It was not. I mean, there were some of the most emotional comic writing I've ever read in those books.
Issue 5
you deeply. Issue 5 touched me.
To me, it's a masterpiece. It's a
yes. Thank you.
Wow.
Jesus and I talked about that.
We love that one.
Left me a hole in the chest, but it's okay.
Yeah. And
I will punch Will once I see him in person.
How dare you do this to me? How dare you?
You should have warned me.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. But you were seeing, I know that some people were doing variants for those covers, and I became very disappointed in the variant covers because it seemed as if they had no actual grasp on what the material inside the book was, because they just wanted these clowns to be scary and terrifying, and so they would do these gory or very highly affected covers, and it didn't do justice to what was inside at all. Most of them were so much more.
Absolutely,
that I just wanted more out of the covers.
With Ice Cream Man, we mostly don't like. We like to encourage it because it's good for us, and we like that retailers trust us and want to make an exclusive covers with our book and all. But we try not to meddle too much with them. Like, it's okay. It's any idea is welcome and all. But I don't know. Like, we rejected one that was like the Ice Cream Man hiding from the police. So it was like, if you read a couple of books, he would laugh and give the policeman nightmares. So it would be. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure he'd do that. He wouldn't even worry about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
As he says, you can kill an idea with a bullet. So you can imprison an idea either. So
that's funny.
That's
funny.
So, okay, I guess keeping things moving along. Jesus, do you want to toss out your recent pickups real quick, just so that we can say that you did it and I can cut it out
later? Real quick, I saw two real quick pickups. Super Crooks, number 1 through 4. I picked them up. It's about superheroes and actually crooks in a superhero world. So it's like Ocean's 11 meets superheroes kind of deal. I think they're making a Netflix adaptation. But the one that I did want to talk about real quick is I picked up this one. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's Department of Truth. I think it's number 14. It hasn't come out yet. But it's an homage cover to Tupac. And what I wanted to ask Martin about that is, a lot of these covers that are coming out that are variants and store variants, stuff of that nature, just like this one as well, is meant to be nostalgic, right? Is meant to look back and get nostalgia. Is that something that you see, I guess, more of going forward? Is that something that, like, do you look at the trends of what's going on, and does that influence you in your covers at all, or anything like that, or any homage? Because I know there was an homage one done for, I think, Action Comics on Ice Cream Man 2, I think, right? So is that something that you look at and kind of say, hey, I want to do something like that, but with my twist on it?
Not particularly. No, I don't see the trends. Like I try to do that when I think it fits with the content I have to put on the cover. Like Ice Cream Man 17 is the homage to Action Comics 1 because is the issue we parody Superman. And then you have like issue 10 is the love story in Mexico. It's it was Will's idea to do an homage to Las Meninas from Velázquez. It's the painting, and we kind of do it, always related with the content. I remember like doing on Great Pacific a cover based on Martin Sheen in Apocalypse Now, coming out of the water with the smoke and the lighting. At night. So that was, I remember it was my idea because this guy was like infiltrating the island and in Great Pacific and was going to kill everybody or so. So I remember relating it with this a scene from the picture. But I don't usually. I like doing it. Sometimes it's a bit forced, Yeah. So when I can relate it with the art, with the content in a strong sense, I like to do it. Yeah, I have no problem with it. In fact, if you see the Electric Sublime, I'm like working on different styles. In some parts, I don't want to spoil, but this is like a Sean Constantine of art, and the guy can enter the world of the paintings, of famous paintings. So I have to draw things in different styles. It's sometimes it's like we did with Ice Cream Man 20. Do you remember the
Everybody remembers Ice Cream Man 20.
Everybody.
Yes, I remember it pretty well too. But, I have to draw like Dr. Seuss and do another two books of children books, and to me it's really fun to do something like that. But it's like when I did like the 5th cover doing the Dr. Seuss style, I said I've been working 10 years trying to put my own style, and now okay.
That's it. I can only do so much.
Now
I can only do so much.
Dr. Seuss. Okay. So, well, okay. I did, because you don't know, but I did commissions and many covers. Yeah.
Oh, of Ice Cream Man, of the Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, with Dr. Seuss style. I'm anxiously waiting for the next Comic Con I go. I usually go to New York Comic Con, but I skip it this year because it was hard to travel from here. But I cannot wait from next year Comic Con, so everybody comes by my table and said, "Okay, I want the Ice Cream Man in Dr. Seuss style." I made it.
I'll be first in line.
I don't have anything against it, obviously.
No.
I did it, and it was great, and I had a great time. But by one time it was like, we'll used to do a show, an internal show with Chris too, saying, because we made like that book had like a second printing, a third printing. And then we did like the local comic shops day, another printing, and we said sales were great with each print. So we'll say I think at one point we have to publish this book every month, the same one.
Over and over.
We shouldn't even care about doing something new. We should change the cover and publish each month. Okay.
Just do a new Dr. Yeah, think about like it's like when a band has a hit song and they have to play that hit song for the rest of their careers, right? Like literally just every.
Man, this sounds like an Ice Cream Man story right here that you're telling, Jake.
Well, I remember Tom York from Radiohead.
Oh yeah, Radiohead.
Saying, "I hate Creep." They hated Creep because everybody asked for Creep, and he was like,
"Well, you have to play it literally every show, or the crowd boos you and they tell you it was a terrible concert." So every year for the rest of your life, you will have to do 5.
You're giving me covers. You're giving me nightmares because I'm picturing myself in the future, like I don't know, like 20 years from now, everybody's saying, "I love Ice Cream Man," and I say, "Look, I have 20 plus years of new books after Ice Cream Man. Come on."
They're not even going to ask for Ice Cream Man. They're just going to say, "Hey, can you do the Dr. Seuss thing?" And then.
Okay, can you do your new character in the Dr. Seuss style?
Okay, all right. So let's real quick jump into this is going to be your segment. This is the Grail Tale, and you briefly kind of talked to us just a little bit about what you kind of have, and I think that it is, amazing that what you have in your possession. So let's go ahead and without further ado, Martin, take it away.
Okay, this is a really old book. It's like made in the 50s, in 1950s, and it's a book called La Historieta Mundial, which would be like World Comics or so, which has an introduction that says how you should make comics, with the different shots, like headshot or panoramic and things about composition and all. And then it has like a catalog with many comic book strips. It's called strips, right? Yeah. Strips.
Yeah. Comic strips, yeah.
So with really old books, like really old strips from the first of the beginning of the 20th century.
Wow.
And then, it has like many Superman ones, or I don't know, like the Hornet or Green Hornet or Wonder Boy or things that I don't even know, Superboy or.
And when was that published? When did you say that was published? In the 1950s?
It was made in the 1950s, if I remember. It is signed, so it's signed in 59. So I guess it was like printed in the 59. But it was made by an important school of art here in Argentina, and my grandfather worked in it. So they did collect all the rights to publish all the strips inside and all, and it was like an enormous work. And it was never released to the public, so practically nobody has it. So only there is one volume speaking about world comics, and another one speaking about Argentinian artists. So there are many artists portrayed there that are like Alberto Breccia and I don't know, like Alberto Salinas or José Luis Salinas, which were guys working really, really important here. The other volume, each artist that appears there has a copy, but essentially nobody has it. So I remember when I was 16 and was on my comic book art class, and the teacher, which was Alberto Salinas, showed this book to show how were the different shots you could do in a comic book. And I said, "Oh, I have that book." And he said, "It's impossible because nobody has it." And I said, "Yes, I do, because my grandfather did it, and he was like amazed. It was there were many guys in the class saying, "I want to buy it from you. How much will you sell it?" It's not for sale. I said, "I have 2 copies, but it's not for sale anymore."
Neither one of them are for sale.
Yeah, because no, I don't want. I don't want.
You had to rub it in their face that you had 2 copies.
Absolutely. But it even has like I'm showing this to you. It's like sketches on how to make a comic book logo. You know.
Oh, the titles. Cool. So Tarzan and
Casey Ruggles, Rip Kirby.
It's like an awesome book, and it has this. This is really, I don't know, like
it's like
you say retro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Vintage.
Vintage. Super vintage.
You can see composition here. You know, like this is a do and this is a don't.
Oh wow! So yeah, it really does have the kind of a teach you how to
like a step-by-step tutorial or a how-to.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. So I used to flip this book, you know, when I was a little kid, and I was like, oh, this character looks cool. So I used to draw, you know, there is like some Captain America here, but I cannot remember where. But you can see here like Sean Carter from Mars.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm showing this correctly.
Yeah.
There it is, Sean Carter from Mars.
Yeah.
No, this is really old. So
it does look really retro.
So absolutely, and it has, you know, a smell about the paper.
Oh yeah, yellow. we know those. Yeah.
And it's awesome, you know. It's like I keep it really dear to me, and I have like this. And do you know Alex Raymond?
I'm not familiar. What work?
He was the creator of Flash Gordon.
Oh yes,
the artist, right?
Yes.
So I have like a postal mail course of how to be a comic book artist by Alex Raymond, and it's on a folder. And you know, another retro thing that I care for deeply.
Yeah.
So
and where did you get that?
It was all from my grandfather. So
these are effectively family heirlooms, right? These are being passed down, like which is amazing, right? That, I mean, that's something that you commonly hear amongst collectors, where they're like, oh, I have this book, this grail of mine, and they, you say it's just like, well, this book is in my personal collection and I'm going to pass it down to my kids. But this is a genuine story of history in your family.
Absolutely.
In Argentinian, jeez, I'm going to cut that part out. Argentinian history, comic book history. This seems to me like something that like they should have, not your copy, but they should have a copy in a museum somewhere, or like a historical library or something like that.
Probably.
Does that exist? Do you know? Is there?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna search for it, because I didn't do it because it's not, it's a book that I keep really dear and think about it and all, but it's not something I flip all the time or have in mind all the time. So I haven't looked for it. I don't know, like in a like. We have a site called Mercado Libre here, which is like the eBay from here,
Okay.
I'm going to look for it there and see if there are somebody selling it. But
you'll have to follow up with us, see if somebody's selling it. But to me, it just strikes me as a priceless work. I mean,
it's really pretty cool. And you mentioned too, like that it had some 1800 comic books in there, 1890 something, right? The comic strips.
Yes, but it's a print. It's not from that time, but yeah, it covers like the beginning from comic books until 1950 something.
Well, I can tell you right now, I would consider this we've done Grail Tales with a lot of people, and there's been a lot of really great stories and reasoning behind why people have books. But I'm just gonna say it. This is the best, most meaningful Grail Tale we've ever had on the show. So thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. Well, everybody has a sentimental reason why a book is a Grail to them, but nobody has actually had a book passed down from their grandfather, or at least nobody we've had on our show yet. So I think that's That's really great.
That their grandfather made,
physically made, not just a book. Like, I'm gonna pass a book down, like, hey, I collected this. Here you go. but he actually made the book.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So, but my grandkids, they'll get copies of Ice Cream Man. So,
if you have Ice Cream Man 1, look out. That one will be very valuable because they were like, we printed like 7,500, so they won't be much in the future.
No, I agree. I agree that
we both have one.
Yeah, we both have one.
Well,
and
all of we have.
Yeah, well,
all of us.
Yeah.
So we're gonna close this out. We're gonna kind of fade into the ending here, but we always end with some sort of a speculation. Where in this particular case, we just close out with a book that we recommend that our listeners, if they're looking for something that could increase in value or something along those lines, we give them a speculation to go look at, or something at least we're interested in, and maybe they might be too. So in your case, you kind of dropped a really good spec right there, where you said there are only like 7,500 Ice Cream Man #1s out there. And they're not making any more of that print. Like that is it. And so you can throw whatever else you want if you'd like, but
that was good enough right there.
To me, I think it's really a great speculation.
I can tell you the exact number if you want to, but
oh man,
I mean, drop the knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's not even 7. If you give me 1 minute, I think it's 7,500 because I can check the shop report, so I can see it there. But
well, you have access to information we don't.
About Ice Cream Man only.
yeah, exactly.
Not the rest of the books, but I can tell you, you have less than that even. Printed of cover A of Ice Cream Man, there are 7,000 copies only.
7,000 copies.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's a staggeringly low number for a modern comic.
Yeah, this is
especially one as popular.
But how it works is Image receives the orders, and then they publish like a couple of more than the order to cover probably reorders and to distribute comps and to press and keep them to them. They do not publish many more, because it's expensive and probably they don't know how it's gonna end, with the book, how it's going to be. So these were the orders, so they printed according to those orders. So you have like 6,806 were delivered to Diamond, but they printed 7,000 and they printed 4,000 of cover B of the first issue.
4,000.
So I know this one already went to a higher price and it's expensive these days. Yeah, I don't have many copies left. I have like 1 or 2 or so.
Oh,
but
those are you gotta hold those. That's got
your name. Yeah.
Well, you have the originals though, right? Like
you have the art, right? You have the art of it.
No.
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 No, it's in your hand. You just have to.
Yeah, just read it.
That's what I tell my wife. My wife sometimes looks at the cover and said, "Oh, this one is beautiful. You should keep it." No, it's okay. I can do another. No problem. I can.
Yeah, you can. It's true.
Yeah, well, if you do, speaking from a speculator point of view, if you do a retrospective, I should keep all the first issues and not sell them in Comic-Con. I sold them in New York Comic-Con for $30 each, So
oh my god,
I know they are a bit higher now, but
yeah,
but I didn't know at that time. I couldn't know about it,
No.
And one guy come by my table and said, "And you're selling this for $30 each?" Yes. I went to that Comic-Con with the guy who sells my original art. It's Comic-Con art, and he said, like, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna kick you in the ass. These are selling like for 100 on eBay, and kind of grab them all and say, you're not gonna sell them anymore. Okay, so yeah. But that was my experience about it, and with the art and all, it was the same. Like I usually do a book, send it to him, he sells it, and probably, yeah. I'm covers are expensive, really expensive now.
Yeah.
But by the time, I don't know, like the first cover sold for, I don't know, a portion of what sells a cover now. But well, it was, I don't know. Nobody knew what was going to be with this book by the time, so it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who even has it. The original for the first cover.
Well, I definitely landed a copy for myself, and I'm proud of it. But it is a monumental achievement in and of itself. I mean, you didn't know it was going to be what it was, but that's kind of how that's how comics work. You just don't know which one's going to hit, but something will. And congrats on that. Holy cow!
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
One bizarre thing I had was I usually do some commissions. I don't do much because I have a lot of work, so I kind of get away from commissions. But I have one that was a recreation of Ice Cream Man 1.
Oh, okay.
Which is strange, right? Because you have recreations of another books or something, like it was, the guy wanted the first cover. So I did it and placed my signature and below did after my signature.
Oh,
because
he did.
Well, and I exchanged one of the kids for a certain kid with a balloon,
Yeah.
I did that, but
That's
funny. It was bizarre,
So you made some alterations to make sure that you could
at least he didn't ask for do it with the sales style,
Yeah,
with the barcode or something.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
Nice. Okay, so Jesus, what you want to toss out your spec real quick?
I do want to toss out my spec. It's also very on brand, I guess, or on point with what we're talking about right now. So I was going through the Ice Cream Man books. So it's an Ice Cream Man book. I'm gonna put it as a spec just because I feel I have a decent eye for cool covers. So I was just going through them and I was like, man, this cover. And again, I'm behind and I'm collecting the trades. So I'm not collecting the floppies, as you say, or the individual. So when I saw this cover, I was like, man, this is a really cool cover. Number one is cool. Number two has the two, I guess, protagonist, antagonist on the cover. So I was like, this cover is probably going to get big in the future just because of how cool it is. So it's Ice Cream Man number 9. It's the really cool cover with the skull, but inside of the skull, you have, the sheriff guy and then Ice Cream Man himself. So I think this cover has some room. I'm looking for high grade of this cover, just because I think it's really cool. So that's my spec for the week.
I would just chime in to say that sometimes when it comes to horror comics, and I think we stipulated earlier that Ice Cream Man is a subgenre of existential horror or something like that, but still horror. But something that makes horror comics in a way are the covers, right? From the pre-code horror, the 1950s and the golden age, people were collecting covers. There is a Punch Comics number 12. It's a very, very famous cover. Just recently sold. There was no book. It was missing 26 pages. It was just the cover that sold for $7,000. I believe that was this week. And so there's the cover.
Okay.
It's a iconic cover. I want to say it was like 1940. 45. I'm not an
45 January 1945.
So, but that cover is more famous than what's inside it, of course, and that's what people collect. Ice Cream Man really captures that. The substance on the inside is wonderful. Everybody should enjoy it and read it, but the covers never let you down, right? Like that is one of the things that makes this series really pop more than the average, because the artwork on it, the context of the information that's being portrayed, and then your visual style, that when they come together, like it is just a match made in heaven. And so those covers, but number 9, as you mentioned, I honestly still feel like there's almost no cover you can't go wrong with that series. But there's a few favorites. Number 3 is another favorite of mine. I do like number 9. And then obviously every cover of number 20. I have those. I had to get them all.
You had to say it.
I'm not going to let you get out. I'll roll real quick into my spec. Jesus, if you don't mind, are you done with yours?
No, I'm good. I'm done.
Okay. So, continuing on the horror theme, it's October. We're doing, a lot of horror stuff, having a horror comic artist on as our guest. So I'm going to go with a series that I recently discovered, I guess. I knew it was out there, but I wasn't, reading it. I generally, when I read a lot of indie comics, but I need to get a little bit into this. This is Deceased. So I'm going to say Deceased number 1. It's a DC book. This is DC's zombie series. So Marvel pioneered taking all of their superheroes and making them zombies. However, DC decided in 2019 that they wanted to do their take on it. And one of the things that everybody, there's in the speculation world, Marvel does one thing and then DC does another. Marvel does something and then DC does another when it comes to movies and shows. And, I think it's a matter of, time. Actually, not even. I think it's going to happen here very soon. The Marvel zombies are coming. Well, I think DC is going to follow, but from a book standpoint, from a writing standpoint, I got to throw a lot of respect to DC, because they didn't just do this, hey, there's a virus and it's causing people to start eating each other and stuff like that. They built it into their characters. So they used the characters, the cyborg, and they made the virus this digital thing that he basically gets infected with, and his powers or ability to infect other electronics being used by other people, so he can send a message out to anybody accessing the internet at that time. And so anybody who is on their phone or on a computer or whatever immediately get infected by this virus. And so they utilize the powers of the characters against them in a way. And I'm interested. So this is all, this is me doing research on it. I'm really excited to actually dig into this series. So anyway, from a speculation standpoint, I think it looks like it's a hell of a lot of fun to read. And the artwork on it, again, just, I feel confident saying just about everything DC from an artwork standpoint comes out with lately has just been fantastic. This was printed in 2019. There are several good variants. There's a really, really cool Joker variant by John Yang. Giang. I apologize if I butchered the name, but there are some really good covers. And so if you're out there looking, and I think you can find this in the dollar bins. It's not an expensive book. I would look into picking that up. So, and you said you don't read a whole lot, or you don't get a lot of floppies down there. Is there anything you're reading particularly right now before we jump off?
The last thing I read was A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, which came out this week, I think, or last week. I read the first 4 issues because I'm an Image insider.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's
Do you
great.
guys have special cards? Do you have an Image insider? I need to get that printed.
Yes. No, it's just a password. You have to know the password.
And is that something you'd recommend? You like it?
It's by Rick Remender, Andre Lima Araujo, and Chris O'Halloran, the colorist of my good friend and colorist of Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
And
the name, the title is great. I mean,
yes,
the
and
title
it's awesome. You know, it's it's great storytelling. It's awesome. I enjoyed it very much.
Nice.
And the rest, I'm not. I've been really busy this year, so it's a bit embarrassing, you know. But when somebody asks me, what are you reading, or what are you watching, or I'm not doing anything. I don't know. I'm not.
You're too busy creating Dr. Seuss homages for the masses.
That's right. You know,
Okay, well, we have occupied way too much of your time, but it has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Martin. Would you mind telling everybody, just tell them where they can find you if they want to find out more about you, or maybe they want to, see if they can get a commission, or where are you at?
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter or even Facebook. I still have it, and it's Instagram is Martin Morazzo with 2 C, and Twitter is the same. So you just Google me and I will show up.
Yeah, you'll pop up. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention you have a website as well. So, and that is martinmorazzo.com.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me. I have to update that.
But it is there, and there's some good resources in there as well, and ways to I do know there's a link in there as far as commissions. Not that you have time, but I know that's there too. So if everybody listening, please go to that link and ask him to do an Ice Cream Man 20 homage.
I'm gonna know it was you, Jake. I'm gonna know it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to throw one more joke in there. Okay. Everybody out there listening, we're running a little long on our time, but thank you so much for listening in. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on, Martin. This was kind of a once in a lifetime thing for me. I really enjoyed it.
Of course, absolutely, and it was a real pleasure to me too. I had a great time, guys. So thank you very much for inviting me, and it's awesome. Thank you very much.
Un placer, Martín. Un placer.
Un placer, Jesús.
All right. Well, I am not included in that club. I apparently don't speak the right language, but I'm assuming it was a really nasty swear word, right?
Yeah, we're talking about you, Jake. Sorry.
Don't worry. No vamos a decir nada malo de Jake para que no se ponga mal.
No. Sí, no, se enoja.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate you. Have a good week.